Well, hey, good morning. Thanks so much for waking up with us here on the Daily Brew. It's Thursday, Friday Eve, as Tiffany calls it.
Yeah, Joe was just making fun of me because look at all these coffee cups.
I mean, we're just struggling today is all.
If that doesn't explain Friday Eve, I don't know what does.
Do you need a mug, Danny?
I was
we got
gonna say,
plenty.
I'll take a mug.
There we go.
I'll warm
that
up
one
a little
on
bit.
the inside says, "Hey, cutie," if you need a confidence
Oh,
boost.
look at that.
Yeah.
I was gonna
Hey,
say, I
cutie.
needed that this morning. There we go.
This one inside says, stay
Stay
zesty.
zesty.
Ooh, I like
Yeah.
that too.
We've got the double shot of espresso this morning. We're getting through. We're ready for the weekend.
I think so. Yeah, definitely so. And, you know, one of the big things this week, first, can we talk about Danny's socks?
Oh, yes.
I love these socks. What
They
do you got
give me
going
like Harry
on?
Potter vibes.
So they are Harry Potter.
Raise them up there.
I was gonna say, so there's the Gryffindor seal. So
Is that your house?
So actually, I'm like Ravenclaw, I guess. But my sister was a big Harry Potter fan, so she read every book as it came out. She gave these to me, and then the other side are like lightning bolts, so like Harry's scar. My family considers me a Gryffindor, but I'm a little bit too much of a nerd, so I think I'm more Ravenclaw. But I'm a huge Harry Potter fan, so that's another thing about me.
I'm a
Okay.
Gryffindor, but I've never seen the movie or read the books. But I know what I am because my college roommates made me take the test.
Okay, so I guess I took one of those, like, you take those quizzes online.
Yeah.
I got Slytherin.
There you
That's
go.
not a bad thing though.
It's not? Okay.
That's not necessarily a
I
bad
know
thing.
nothing about the movie.
I would say, as a
What's
Harry,
the one people want?
usually Gryffindor, because that's what Harry, Ron, and Hermione are in. But
Yeah.
Slytherin's not necessarily a bad thing. Not everyone that goes Slytherin's bad, as they say.
Okay, all right.
Anyway.
If it makes you feel better, our former meteorologist, Zach, was also one.
Of course it was. Okay, so let's talk about one of the biggest stories, I mean, across Arkansas, across the country even. This is a massive story, the manhunt, a massive manhunt that's going on for escaped prisoner Grant Hardin. We are on day 5 now.
This is just so wild because this has become national news. You have news correspondents from around the country camped out in Calico Rock right now. And this is not something, these kinds of things don't happen in our area very often, right? And so to see something like this, it's kind of something you expect out of a big city. Like we had that New Orleans where those inmates
10 of
escaped
them,
and were gone for a while, 2 still missing. But then we're going on day 5. So he's either hunkered down or he knows how to, he's long gone and he knows how to fly under the radar like no one else.
Yeah, definitely. And what makes this, you know, I think such a big story across the country is that, I mean, he's a convicted murderer, rapist. So we're not talking about just a guy charged of, you know, a smaller felony. This is at the top of the top.
Well, and you wonder if, because it's at the top, he was going to serve the rest of his life in prison, if he was kind of to the point of,
He's got nothing to lose.
He has nothing to lose. If he gets caught, he goes back to jail and spends the rest of his life there, which he was going to do anyway.
Yeah, definitely. Well, you know, most of the bulk of the search is in north central Arkansas. He was a former Northwest Arkansas police chief serving that prison sentence there, which his crimes were out of Benton County. He escaped Sunday from the north central unit in Calico Rock. Do we have some video that we can show real quick? And International Security Chief Carl De La Guerra, he's sort of talking about what could happen in the scenario, right? If he escapes, since he's in law enforcement, he sort of knows what could happen, where to go, how they search. Well, Guerra is actually cluing us in on where he could be.
There's a mathematical formula where you would know exactly how far someone can move on foot. So that's a perimeter that has been set up. More than likely, multiple perimeters have been set up in the area. And then it's just a meticulous search through all that area there to look for areas where the size of one man could possibly be hiding.
Well, law enforcement across the entire state, they're actively looking into every tip that comes in. And actually, overnight, the Department of Corrections, they sent sort of like a press release through email saying that they received a tip out of Faulkner County, regarding the inmate. The sheriff's office there, they posted on social media because they had so many questions about it, saying that they assisted U.S. Marshals looking into the area there, Highway 65 and the Cadrone Bridge. That's just north of Little Rock there.
Yeah, I think one thing that's interesting about this is, this was the first thing that came to my mind anyway, that there was a tip in Faulkner County. Stacey Lee Drake, about a year ago, the man who went missing for the murders out of Oklahoma.
He went on a killing spree.
He did, and they found him hiding out in Faulkner County.
Right.
And so this is so interesting that it kind of seems like the last 2 cases we've had kind of like this in the last 2 years, or in the last year, have all gotten tips out of Faulkner County.
Out of that area, yeah.
And that's an area where things like that, they don't happen.
Yeah.
And I've one of my best friends lives in Faulkner County, and I remember being on the phone with her, and she was on a walk, and she was like, I'm kind of scared to even be on a walk right now because it was like a trail with woods and stuff. And she was like, I'm going to stay on the phone just in case, you know?
Yeah, you definitely have to be vigilant, right? I mean, all those folks. Let's go ahead and take a look at the photograph shared by authorities. Just a last look here. The photo on the left, the mugshot. So that would be what he would look like today. It's the most recent. The one there on the right is a picture from that surveillance footage taken of him wearing that makeshift law enforcement uniform.
Yeah, and if you think you see him out, you recognize that face. Good things to know is he's about 6 feet tall, weighs around 260 pounds. So those are just some other things that are key factors. And again, if you see him, do not approach him. Call police immediately.
Absolutely. All right, let's talk about this one. President Trump pardoning reality TV stars Julie and Todd Chrisley.
Have you seen that show?
I haven't,
It's
but
hilarious.
it's a show where basically it kind of shows their extravagant lifestyle.
Oh, it is so funny.
Danny, are you watching this show?
Have you seen it?
I have not seen it.
Okay, it's back in the day. Photojournalist Will Maxwell, also a big fan, was pulling up his favorite episode yesterday to show me of the show itself. So the show basically, I mean, I watched it in high school, but they have a very extravagant lifestyle. Todd Chrisley, he says whatever he's thinking at any point. He doesn't care. He calls the family out. And so it's kind of just comical because all the personalities are so different.
Yeah.
And so it was a big deal when they went to jail because so many people were following along with their life. And I think one thing that drew people in was this extravagant lifestyle. And then all of a sudden they're going to jail for like crimes that have to do with money.
Yeah.
And so I think it kind of just like freaked people out because the whole thing was they were these big real estate agents in Georgia and made all this money. And, you know, the daughter did pageants and he always had an opinion about things she was wearing and stuff like that. And it was such an interesting show and just funny. And they were just a Southern family. And then he went to jail for, I think, tax evasion.
Yeah, for fraud, yeah. And then as they're being released, it's video very similar to this as actually going viral online. A lot of people are sharing it. Bank fraud and tax evasion. And the prosecutor back in 2022 at the trial said that they spent lavishly, right? But they took out fraudulent bank loans worth millions of dollars, hiding their earnings from tax authorities. They would take out new loans to pay off the old ones. So they filed for bankruptcy after that, and they walked away from more than $20 million in unpaid loans. So another thing that's sort of going viral is the phone call between the president and Chrissy. It was recorded. Let's take a listen.
That's a terrible thing. It's a terrible thing, but it's a great thing because your parents are going to be free and clean, and I hope we can do it by tomorrow. Is that okay? We'll try getting it done tomorrow. So wonderful. Give them, I don't know them, but give them my regards and wish them a good life.
Mr. President.
Yes. How are you?
I just want to say thank you for bringing my parents back.
Now, okay, so Savannah Chrisley, the daughter, I've followed her since the show. And so I kind of followed along as she was along with this journey because she was constantly posting like updates about them in prison. And she's been a big advocate for trying to get them out. And I think any kid, right, is wanting their parents out of jail. I think as the public, we'll never know how far that crime went, if they did it, if they didn't. We know that they were tried and that they were accused of it and they went to jail, found guilty. But I think any kid, no matter what their parent did or didn't do, is going to have that same reaction when they find out that they have their parents back.
Yeah, definitely so. All right, I know we're going to love this one this morning. We're taking a look back at the fashion of flight attendants. Now, it's changed a lot, right? CBS Sunday Mornings put together a pretty neat look back and the history of those uniforms, which started with designs by Edith Head with bold colors in the 1980s, but this is from 1940s right here.
Oh, yeah, look at these. These are the best. My favorite, it's coming up, is it's either the late 60s or early 70s. Just wait till you see this. It's such a shift. Oh, was it not in there? There was some, and it was like, oh, there they go. Look at that. How
colorful.
fun is that? It only lasted for a year.
Yeah.
Maybe because it was a big shift from everything else. But can you imagine getting on a flight in those bright colors? But that was the time.
I love it though.
I'll say it looked pretty cool to me. It looked like, honestly, kind of one of those like, carpets as you had as a kid. It had like the town on it.
Yeah.
That's what I thought of it. Also, the first photo that had all that leg room, I missed that.
Right?
I need that back.
It's because planes are bigger now and they're stuffing more people in. But
Costs are higher.
come on, let's get a little leg room
I know.
back.
Well,
I'm
I
saying.
did see like a prototype. I don't know if you guys saw where it's like more of like a standing seat, where you sit like this.
Okay. Halfway
It hasn't been approved, but it was just like a
They
rumor
want
going.
that because it's going to be so close.
It's gonna fit more people.
Oh, absolutely.
So you're
not.
going to be scrunched up higher and closer?
That better be a 30-minute flight.
I would say it's not approved. It was just a rumor going around, but it's just something to keep an eye on.
If that happens, those better be a quarter of price flights. Then I'll consider.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if it's like you're paying $400 to go on a 2-hour flight and
Yeah.
you're sitting like
No,
that,
No chance.
absolutely
No
not.
chance.
Oh my God. And I hate how it's like if you're in the middle seat, right?
That's always me.
These arm things belong to the people think on the side, they think it belongs to them. So you're just kind of like this.
No, it
So if
should-
you
No, I
take a flight, can you just remember this is for the person in the middle?
I claim
You get
them.
the outside, okay?
I claim them. I at least claim one.
Yeah, lock it
because
down.
if you get the window and you get the aisle,
You should get something.
my husband's 6'4", and so whenever we fly, he has to go aisle because his legs are so long.
Sure.
And so I always end up in the middle if I want to sit by him, and that kind of thing happened to me. Thankfully, he was on one side of me, but the other side, they claimed it on our flight to Italy.
Which is how many hours?
10-hour
No.
flight on the
Oh,
way
boy.
home. And I didn't sleep because I was trying to get back on, a normal schedule. So for 10 hours, I just sat there.
Oh,
I had one elbow. It was the worst.
I mean, I've before just put my arm on top of that person. I'm like, we're going to be here for a while, and I got to put my arm somewhere.
You're
Sorry.
like, we can get to know each other if
Yeah.
you want, but I need this arm room.
Yeah, but be respectful. Come on, the people in the middle, leave it to them.
And then you have to climb over people if you need to get up.
Yeah,
it's the worst.
It's getting a bit ridiculous.
It is.
and,
It is.
and it's such tight quarters, especially like, the flights where in order of when you checked in, you get to pick. And so the only seats that are left are the middle seats. And so then you're climbing over people with your bag, trying to get it under. It's wild.
Yes.
It's not fun. It's not a good experience. I'm sorry. It's just not. All right. So let's talk about this. A suburban Phoenix, Arizona police officer is being held a hero for rescuing a woman from a burning car. Now, this was back on Sunday. Just real quick, she's okay. She was in critical condition, but expected to recover. It's a bit of a disturbing video. So, if you don't want to see that, take a look back. But she did make it okay. And Gloria, can we go ahead and we'll leave the mics up on this, but if you'll go ahead and take the video, let's take a look. This is him here. He busts out the window.
She's kicking out at the same time.
Yeah.
He grabs her immediately.
And he's like, I got you, come on, and gets her out of there. And you just like, my goodness, he's not even, that car could explode, anything could happen.
But he's no fear.
No
Yeah.
fear. He's just, I got you.
Yeah.
And our law enforcement, they're so good about that
Yes.
kind of thing. They took, an oath to save people, and a majority of the time, that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And how calm he was too. Like you said, like no fear, and that's I think the biggest part with any first responders being calm, collected, and again, like you said, shout out all our first responders because they do a job that's very noble, and not a lot of people could do it.
Well, and
You're
I'm
right.
just so glad she's expected to make a full
Right.
recovery. I mean, you see that car, you think that person's gone.
Like he got her out just in the nick of time in that one. All right, let's talk about these two hikers. Have you heard about this in New York's mountains there? How do you say it? Adirondack?
Adirondack.
Okay, mountains. They called 911 to report a third member of their party had died, okay? But it turns out that they had just taken hallucinogenic mushrooms.
Oh, my goodness.
And they were mistaken, basically. So.
So what happened to that third person? Did they just go on a walk by themselves, or they were just really hallucinating?
Yeah,
or-
just hallucinating sort of all over the
But
place.
two of them believed.
I know. But then they got, the third one on the phone and talked to them. So two hikers taken down by an ambulance and then, taken to the hospital. They brought the third, though, to the group's campsite where they all met up later.
I'm wondering if the third one took them, because it sounded like the third one was fine.
I'm not sure. I think they were all kind of
A little out of it.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Can you believe, like, if you're on the other side of that phone call, you're freaking out, you get there, and then you're like, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah. Like,
And they
what are you
probably had
doing?
to hike a little bit to get up there to get them.
Right.
I'm just saying that's probably not the best place to
No.
experiment.
That looks like there's a lot of
that.
cliffs.
And that's the thing. I think, again, I'm not speaking for everybody, but I've heard of quite a few cases of this where they go out in nature to calm themselves down and ground themselves. I think that'd be like the worst part. 'Cause
Yeah.
You're in the middle of nowhere. No one's around you. I'd be freaking out personally.
Definitely.
I'm just freaking out in the mountains anyway.
My goodness. Okay. All right. It is Thursday. Tomorrow is Friday. We're hoping that rain will sort of clear up.
Yes.
I know the rivers, lakes, we're all full, right? We need
Yes.
a break in this rain. We're hoping for some.
Yes, and the good news is that as the morning has been continuing, things have been trending down a little bit. So when we come up with the news at noon, we'll of course give you an update. And of course, throughout the morning here, we'll give you an update. But things thankfully are trending down a little bit for that rainfall, becoming more isolated in nature. So that's some good news there. Of course, we'll always keep you posted here if anything does turn a little bit on the stronger side, because any storms that do develop could be a little bit strong. We get high temperatures in the low to mid 70s for northwest Arkansas, upper 70s, low 80s for the River Valley. And again, it's looking very nice for tomorrow. We just got to get through today and maybe a little bit of rain.
Yeah. Okay. Not too bad. Not too bad. Then we can hang in there. And Danny, as you know, I mean, he's new here to Arkansas. He's experiencing this Arkansas weather for
Yes.
the first time. We are a bit of a roller coaster, right?
We are.
I was gonna
A
say,
lot of ups and downs.
I was gonna say, I think just the plains in general are just roller coasters, just because you have the Rocky Mountains to your left, the Appalachians to your right, and then everything in between. It's just nuts. You get those strong systems moving in, you get cold weather for a day, and then it's 90 the next. So thankfully, I am kind of used to that kind of whiplash weather, so to speak. But certainly next week when it's getting very hot, I'm sure I'll be complaining on here about the heat. Like I said, thankfully,
Oh,
working
next week's going to be nothing.
Hey, look, for a Minnesota kid
For
like
you,
myself,
it'll be-
say the normal high, the warmest it ever gets in Minnesota, it'll get up to 100. But like the normal, let's say, the highest normal is like 84, 85.
Wow.
Here it's 91, 92. So
And feels like 150.
I was gonna
yeah,
say, and you
with
get
the
that you get
humidity.
that moisture too. So
Yeah.
like I said, check back on me in August. We'll be seeing how I'm doing.
Yeah, exactly.
We could find a whole new Danny in August.
I would say hopefully a better one, but not for the worse.
All right. Hey, thanks so much for waking up with us here on the Daily Brew. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.
7 a.m. See you then.